Hello, hello, and welcome back to Fate Stay Night, day 13. I think I'm only going to do the first half of this, because it's already, late when I'm starting to record this. Anyway, the sky is grey, the hill crimson with corpses. The heavy clouds drift away, heralding the battle's end. I know this scene, I've seen it so many times now. This is one of Saber's battles. She fought and won so many victories. Scenes like this are almost commonplace for her. Afterwards, she will return to her castle where her victory will be praised and celebrated. Then she will prepare for the next battle. This is just life for her. It is only one of the 12 great battles she fought. So she does not truly remember victory so much as she just accepts it as a fact. I think she's misguided. This is not a dream, it's just a cold reality, her past that can't be changed. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being human. She took over her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur and Artoria. The life of a girl who once aspired to be a knight changed so radically. No, was forced to end her life as she knew it might be a better way to put it. In that instant, the girl who still had such childlike features ceased to be and became the king of knights. She acted like she was the king's son. The ruler of territories and knights had to be male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was female. She covered herself in iron and hid the truth for the rest of her life. I don't know why I never realized the implications of it until now. As much public exposure as she had, she managed to pass herself off as male the whole time. The sheer suffering she likely endured must have been incredible, but a simple observer could never really understand. Time passes, 10 years worth of memories as king, and there's only one common thread that entire time, even when she's on the throne, even when she's walking through the hallway, even when she's on the battlefield. Not a soul spoke to her. Even the round table, filled as it was with the knights boasting of their valor, always fell silent the moment the king appeared. So that's what it meant. She was merely tolerated as an idol. Many knights looked down on Artoria with her boyish appearance and were ultimately not comfortable in trusting her with their blades. But because she managed to draw the sacred sword that no one else could, they had to obey, even if only to keep up appearances. They just accepted the disgrace, believed it would pass. Sacred sword or no, the king was merely a child. Even with Merlin's support, the king would surely fail eventually. When that happens, they need only take the sacred sword from her and select a new king. That's probably what most of the knights thought. But that's not how it went. The knight, who only just reaching adulthood, was a flawless king. She enforced peace among the squabbling lords and fought off invaders as well. Of course, this wasn't due to the Sacred Sword's powers. The Sacred Sword only protects the king. The king, on the other hand, protects the nation. And through her deeds, she was always able to maintain control of her knights. The Sacred Sword protects her only from her enemies. It does nothing to help her hold sway over the hearts of her subjects. She worked herself to the bone to be the ideal king of all. At that point, the knights had no choice but to obey. They held their dissatisfaction for the young king in check because the king was truly perfect. She strived to be an ideal king. The only condition for the knights' support was that their king be exactly that, the ideal king. There was no room for Artoria to be a human being. She could be a king, and only a king. The peerless knight who drew the sacred sword, who stopped aging from that moment, and who went on to win 12 great wars. The more perfect she became, the more people stayed away from her. As this continued, the king grew more and more isolated. That was who she was. But she did well. In fact, she did too well. She defeated her enemies and minimized her own side's casualties. No matter the battle, sacrifices must be made. So she believed it was her duty to make sacrifices to bolster her army and to defeat the enemy without wasting lives. She would strip the resources from one village to prepare her army, then defeat the invaders before they could strike her land, saving perhaps 10 villages. That was the king's approach, and it proved the best strategy at the time. But the knights must not have been happy. To them, only the foreign invaders should have died, and the only true victory is made without any such sacrifices. There shouldn't be any need to sacrifice territory before battle. They were going to win regardless, so the sacrifices were pointless. There wouldn't be any sacrifices, the king's actions were a waste. It was, of course, total nonsense. Once the battle began, the knights spared not a thought for those little villages. No one thought twice about trampling the villages. Protecting them was never a consideration. The knights claimed that there's nothing to be done when the enemy destroys such villages, but to let them be destroyed is a great crime. Obviously she knew that, but a king cannot worry about their personal feelings. She had to kill her emotions to make her decisions, and her knights had to suppress their own feelings to obey. And so sacrifices are made, and that string of victories stabilizes the nation. And in return, animosity for the king grew. King Arthur just doesn't understand how people feel. So one knight was heard to say as they left the castle. What a ridiculous story. She was expected not to be human, but they hated her precisely because she didn't have human emotions. The age of war continued. The animosity of the knights who had been dissatisfied with the king only grew more, so after that knight left, they forced her to deal with every foreign and domestic enemy in hopes of pushing her over the edge. Collapse was imminent. If these many people confronting the nation were never resolved, it would crumble. Even if all of them were to be resolved, what awaits is more of the same. But that did not concern the king. Even should she be abandoned, fear to betray, she will remain steadfast because she had long since made up her mind. She abandoned her emotions the moment she decided to draw that sword. This happened long, long ago. Knights from across the nation gathered to try and draw the sword from the stone, but none of them could do it. The knights instead showcased their skill on horseback, eager to crown the best among their king. The knights flocked to the arena in droves. The sword and the stone lay outside, forgotten. From afar it looked more like a festival. Even in the distance the sound of valiant cavalrymen clashing was audible. The knights clashed in the distance and the rock lay forgotten. What was going through the girl's mind as she stood in front of the rock? Before she realized the unknown mage stood behind her. He tries to stop her for her own good. He also warned her that many would hate her and that she would die a gruesome death. She must have been terrified. The mage showed her the future. He showed her the end she would meet if she drew that sword. It only made her all the more determined. Even after seeing that future, she only gave a firm nod. The mage asked again if that's what she wanted. She took the sword in her hand. The mage looked troubled and turned away. He departed with those prophetic words. That's right, she just wanted to protect everyone, but to do so she had to abandon her desire to protect people. She cannot protect her country as its king if she still has a human heart, even knowing that she drew the sword, even knowing that she vowed to live as a king. So no matter what happened, she will remain steadfast. She abandoned her human heart. She was willing to give that up to protect her nation. Who could have known this girl made such a noble oath? She was determined to fight, come what may. It however might end. She still decided to fight, even if an inevitable solitary doom awaited her. And her end did come, the Battle of Camlan. King Arthur set out a campaign, and one of her knights usurped her throne, splitting the nation in two, and sparking a terrible conflict. Legend has it that this battle brought an end to knighthood and chivalry. She killed every knight who once served her and invaded the land she fought to defend. All the kings who followed her were gone. Damn it! Fucking misread it. All the knights who followed her were gone, and her own body lay injured and immobile. There was no one left around her. As ever, nothing has changed. All she had in her heart was the pride of a king. She'd known about this ending, so she believed there was something to be gained from this failure, which is why she kept fighting without ever failing or disgracing herself. She had not regrets. If she were to have one, it would be seeing her nation in ruin. She raised her gaze. Maybe she would have been able to see her castle in the distance from the shore. She saw only the aftermath of the battle, a dense forest and a lake to which she must return. That's right. The hill she meant to charge over has become a wall she can't climb. Strength left her body. For the first time, she loosened her grip on the sacred sword. And that's where it ended. It was only natural that the dream would end here, since there is nothing beyond that moment in her memories. And that's why this end cannot be rewritten. She worked so hard and she was resented, betrayed. Nobody understood that she loved her people more than a nation. She came to be known as a merciless king. She was never rewarded nor understood. On top of the crimson stained, sword-strewn hill, the girl sat on the edge of death, isolated and betrayed. Awake to the sound of rain this morning. I grip my spinning head and sit up. It's just before 6 o'clock. The rain patters softly outside. That dream I just had. No, there's no doubt about it. It was Saber's past. It was the end of her life a long, long time ago. Nothing can change it now. I grip my teeth. I can hear them grinding. I don't know why, but I'm so mad. What the hell was that? Just thinking about it pisses me off. Past the fact that she didn't think of any of it. Me thinking the dream was nothing before. Ugh. I hate it. I don't even understand why, but it's making me angry. I don't like it. I don't like it one damn bit. No matter how you slice it, her life was unfair. So unfair. She only wanted to help people. She wanted nothing for herself. But as hard as she worked, nobody understood her. Not even at the very end. That really pisses me off. So unfair. That's right. If she worked harder than anyone, she doesn't She doesn't receive any reward. It's all just a bunch of crap. She should be rewarded for everything she's done. But how could that happen at this point? I tell her that she did a good job? Do I tell her how wonderful she was? Of course not. Nothing so simple could do her justice. I know, there's only one answer. That's right. If she's to be rewarded, the work she devoted her life should be repaid. Or Tori needs happiness to match all the battles she fought. But then, what can I do? I'm out of ideas. I don't have any idea on how to make people happy. So useless, this thing kind of thing. Entire life I wanted to be a champion of justice, but all I ever did was lend a hand here or there. I believed everyone around me would be happy if I just helped people, or rather, I couldn't face myself if I didn't believe that. Helping people and saving people are very much not the same thing. If I don't understand the difference myself, I can't possibly reward Saber. Breakfast is the same as usual. I get the sense Saber and Sokka are pretty depth since they've already gotten used to Ilya being here.
で、あんたはどうするのよ、シロ。残るマスターは3人。聖杯戦争だって期限がないってわけじゃないんだから、そろそろ行動に移らないとまずいわよ。いつも後手を踏むってのも情けないし。
Sokka's right. There's nothing wrong with me physically, and Saber's completely healed. We should be done resting as of yesterday. You're right. You say we need to make a move, but it'll have to be at night. We're going to have to do the same things we've been doing during the day.
本気？まあ、相手の情報がないんだから、闇雲に出歩いても仕方がないけどさ。じゃあ、シロは今日もセイバーにいじめられるわけ？
I'm going to continue my sword training, Saber. That's what we've been doing every day, and a master should always be prepared for battle.
リン、私とシローが行っているのは鍛錬です。今の発言は人聞きが悪すぎます。
Well, actually, yeah, I'm going to get beaten up by Saber in the morning, like usual.
シロー、あなたまでそのように言われては、私の立場がないのですが。
Sorry, Saber. I wasn't listening.
ですから、リンの言いぶりは乱暴すぎるという件です。
Oh.
まったく、どうしたのですシロー。今朝は覇気が感じられません。朝食もどことなく彩りに欠けますし、昨日も遅くまで蔵にいたのですか？
Saber may be questioning me, but there's no real bite to it. I can sense that she's trusting. It makes it even harder to meet her gaze now. For hours meet, I can't help but thinking of that scene in the hill.
わかりました。後ほどカツを入れて差し上げます。それでは今日も道場で鍛錬をするでいいのですね、シロ。
Yeah, what about you, Ilya?
私も昨日と同じだよ。雨に濡れるのは嫌いだから外に出たくないわ。
Got it, that's perfect. I'd rather you stay in the house since it's dangerous to go outside.
昨日みたいにお弁当作ってくれるなら一緒にいてあげてもいいよ。
It seems like Ilya took a liking to the bento yesterday. I'm a little embarrassed that something so simple pleased her, but at the same time I'm glad to know Ilya enjoyed the bento I made.
なんだ、それじゃあ昨日と同じってことね。私も調べ物があるから部屋にこもるけど、午後になったら顔を出しなさい。ちょっと話があるから。
調べ物ですか？
そう。セイバーなら分かってると思うけど、昨日から竜道寺の様子がおかしいのよ。あれだけ精力的にやってた魔力集めも止まってるし、何か動きがあったのは明白でしょ。まあ、残ったマスターの中で一番厄介そうなのは竜道寺のやつだしね。使いまでもこしらえて中の様子を探ってみるわ。
それでしたら探索に専念した方がいいのではないですか？無理に時間を割いてシロに享受する必要はないと思いますが。
まあそこはそれ。悪いけど我慢してちょうだい。私もね、まだ危なっかしくて放っておけないのよ。 敵に殺されるのならいいけど、魔術をしくじって自滅でもされたら死として面目がないでしょ。
はい、リンの言う通りです。私はどうかしていました。リンの授業が必要ないなんてどうして思ってしまったのか。
その理由は簡単だけど、まあ知らぬが花ってことで。それじゃあ午前中の鍛錬頑張ってね。そいつ頑丈だから死なない程度に痛めつけるぐらいが最適よ。
And with that, Tasaka leaves the room. Saber, take what Tasaka says with a grain of salt. She can't say that because she's never been hit by you. I tell her just in case. For some reason, she seems pleased.
はい、分かっています。シローの体に関してなら私の方が熟知していますから。
She responds calmly.
どうしました？食べないのですか、イリアスフィール。昨日に比べるとまだ3割にも届いていませんが。
違うよ、こっちのは食べられないの。私辛いのはダメなんだ。
はあ、そう辛いとは思いませんが、この香辛料は鶏肉に合っています。
マスタードは嫌いなんだってば。いいから食べて。その代わりそっちのイチゴの食べてあげる。
You don't like mustard? Get a mouse! Now, mayo! That's fair. I don't like mayo either.
何をするのです、イリアスフィール。
Food thief.
こら戻しなさい。それはダメです。甘いものが欲しいならリンゴのパイがあるでしょう。
Ilya and Saber sit next to each other, bickering like two close sisters. It's just past noon. The three of us sit and face each other, eating lunch together, just like yesterday. Or it's not just lunch the same as yesterday. Our training today is, well, today though is even more awkward. I don't know how to explain it, but something in my chest says when I face Saber, and I find myself unable to rush it or with the same desperation I used to. It's not just me, Saber's been acting weird too. It used to be that she never let an opening go by. Last couple of days she's just waited for me to make a move, which has meant the two of us kind of ended up staring at each other for a while. Ilya's criticism helped us get back into the swing of things. I managed to go after Saber, but it ended pretty much the same. She batted aside my half-assed attacks, but didn't bother countering. Since she didn't follow up, I rolled on Saber and lunged again and was once more repelled, though she again didn't counterattack. Our lackluster session ended about 10 minutes ago. Once again, it was at Saber's suggestion we begin our lunch break. We're having the same thing we did yesterday, sandwiches. I figured it would do to make them exactly the same as yesterday, so we used a few other ingredients. Everyone seems happy. Ilya is excited over the colorful sandwiches, and Saber takes a deep breath preparing for her meal. I think that's Saber's way of showing her enthusiasm. It's much rowdier than yesterday. It's raining and the hardwood floor is cold, but this also feels like a picnic.
ああ、もうそこまでです、イリアスフィール。それでは服が汚れてしまう。まったく、シローの真似をして一口で食べるからそうなるのです。あなたの口は小さいのですから、もう少しおとなしく食べるべきでしょう。
分かってないのはセイバーの方よ。こういうお弁当はね、お行儀を気にする方が失礼なのよ。これはピクニックなんだから、こういう風にするのが本当なんだよね、シロ。
Ilya happily munches on a sandwich. Saber reluctantly wipes Ilya's mouth with a napkin. Well, I didn't see this coming. Saber and Ilya seem to have warmed up to each other.
驚いた。拒否しないのですか、イリアスフィール。
なんで？私、優しくされるの好きだよ。他のやつが私に触れたら殺すけど、セイバーは綺麗だから許してあげる。それに、今は同じお弁当を食べる仲間だもの。 セイバーが私のこと好きなら私もセイバーのことは好きよ。
So simple for Ilya. Saber clearly taken aback stares at Ilya dumbfounded. Even I, as a spectator, as this unfolds, am caught off guard by Ilya's smile.
何？セイバーは楽しくないの？
いえ、それは。
私は楽しいよ。外は雨で、ここはこんな殺風景な場所で欲しかったものは何もない。けどこうしていると嬉しいの。一人でいるよりずっとずっとあったかいでしょ。なのにセイバーは楽しくないの？
Something in Ilya's smile must have struck Saber. Saber sighs deeply and looks back at her.
そうですね。私もこうしているのはとても楽しい。
She sounds bright, and then Saber smiles in a way I've never seen from her. I don't know why, but I'm getting emotional. That smile was great. It was for herself and herself alone. It's not the usual smile I see from her whenever she's protecting someone. It's a smile of sheer happiness for her, from her.
シロ、どうしました？そんな顔して。何かいいことでもあったのですか？
No, nothing. Was I making a funny face?
してたわ。お父さんみたいな顔。遠くからこっちを見守ってますって風なの。私、そういう顔は嫌いよ。
Why? I don't understand what she's talking about, but I guess I was just smiling. I see, well, something good happened, so I guess I didn't realize I was smiling.
はあ、いいことですか？
Yeah, I like the way you smiled just now, Saber. Seeing it made me happy.
難しいですね。そんなことが嬉しいのですか？シロは。
I guess I like seeing you smile like that, Saber. Saber nods, though she doesn't seem convinced. And then, I don't know what came over her, but she smiles and lifts her head.
そうですか。それでは逆ですね、シロ。
What do you mean the other way?
私はあなたが笑顔でいてくれた方が嬉しい。あなたが笑っていられるなら、私はそれで十分です。
I can't meet Saber's gaze. That smile would make anyone lightheaded. I managed to calm myself down and glance sidelong at Saber. She calmly resumes eating her picnic lunch. Nothing to worry about there. There should be nothing to worry about, and yet something is bothering me.
私はあなたが笑顔でいてくれた方が嬉しい。
That smile I saw for the first time, it seemed like she was contradicting herself. I listened to the rain at Tasaka's room. Today, under the pretense of a major confession, she performed yet another physical examination like yesterday. She gave me more medicine than checked all my magic circuits. It's not that I mind doing this, it's just, I just don't like the feeling that I'm not doing anything productive. She tells me not to move so she can see what happens to me, but that doesn't mean I can't talk. Tasaka, do you have a minute? I call out to her as I sit in my meditative pose.
いいけど何よ。
It's about Saber. I really don't know how to explain it, but I realize I haven't thought this through at all. It's not even a question of what can I do for Saber. I haven't even thought about what I want to do with. I was just wondering what she wants to do. She never told us anything she wants to do for herself, so...
セイバーが何を考えているかわからない？
No, it's not that. I just don't know why she's so selfless. I just don't know what to do about that.
まあそうよね。セイバーが自発的にやったことってあんたを守ることだけだもの。サーバントとしては当たり前だけど、あそこまで徹底しているとわからなくもなるわ。でもだからといって無欲ってわけはないでしょ。セイバーだって自分の目的のためにあなたを守っているんだから。
Oh, I completely forgot a reason for even becoming a servant. You're right, Saber wants to get the Holy Grail. It's not like she doesn't have any goals, and that Holy Grail will grant its possessor's wish. I mean, Saber at least has a wish she wants granted. I don't know what it is, but she wants it enough to become a savage, so it must have some hope of saving her. Like, for example, she's in here in this time period, and the power of the Holy Girl can help her so she can stay here and live a second life. Ooh, sequel hook! And she would have to wish for something that big just to make up for all the suffering and dredge she endured. Oh, that's actually pretty simple.
気持ち悪いわね。いきなり元気になっちゃって。今の話、そんなに面白かった？
Yeah, I am getting excited, and yeah, she wouldn't be fighting so unless it was something real big. After all, Saber needs to fight for her own wish. I nod to myself. Dusklock, on the other hand, seems utterly bewildered.
エミヤくん、喜んでるところ悪いけど、それはあなたの早とちりよ。セイバーは自分のためになんか戦わないわ。あなただって分かってるんじゃない？セイバーはそういうタイプじゃないわ。彼女が聖杯を求める理由は決して自分のためじゃないって。
What's your reasoning? I can't even ask that. I don't know. She met her final moments alone because she didn't have any desires for herself, so Saber wouldn't seek for her own salvation now. But still, I hoped otherwise even for a brief moment, so I pushed my sort of desire on her. Our conversation trails off, just as I think this awkward silence is going to continue forever.
つまんない話だけどね。あーちゃんもあんたと似たようなことを言ってたわ。
Archer? You mean you're Archer?
そう。私もね、あいつに聞いたのよ。あんたの望みは何なのかって。そしたらあいつ、なんて言ったと思う？
I wouldn't have the slightest idea. I never knew a single thing about him. Archie once declared that we were bound to be enemies anyway, so he made no effort to communicate with Saber or me, and yet, he may have been cynical, but he didn't seem the sort to have stupid objectives in mind.
これがね、聞いたら笑うわよ。望みは何よと聞いたら、あいつったらこう言ったの。
そうだな。恒久的な世界平和というのはどうだ？
もう呆れを通り越して爆笑したわけ。そしたらあいつ、やはり笑われたか。まあ他人の手による救いなど意味はない。今のは笑い話にしておこう。なんて言っていじけちゃってさ。なんかね、ああいうやつだから英霊になんてなっちゃって、私みたいな小娘に刺激されちゃうんだなとか思ったわ。
I see. He didn't look it, but he was a great proud knight in his own right.
けどね、間違わないで。聖杯が本当に全ての願いを叶えるのなら、恒久的な世界平和なんて最悪の願いよ。要するに、それって何もないってことでしょ？争いのない世界なんて死んでるだけよ。物事は動いてないと腐るだけなんだから。
Did you tell Archie that too?
言ったわよ。そしたらあいつ、それが賢者の考えだ。私も同意見だが、今、まあそれはいいから、それじゃあ他の望みはあるのかって言ったら、あるにはあるが、聖杯で叶えるほどのものでもなし、私の分は君に譲ろうとかなんとか。キザでしょ？あいつ、きっと生前は女ったらしだったに違いないわ。
No, I really didn't get that impression. But what's your point here, Tasaka?
別にサーバントにもいろいろいるってことを話しただけ。
Is that so? Well, I guess it was good for me to know, so it was at least kind of helpful.
じゃあ次はこっちの番ね。まあ私もセイバーに関することなんだけど。
I do remember saying you want to talk to me about something this morning.
ええ、大したことじゃないんだけど少し気になって。今更になるんだけど、エミヤ君はアーサー王の伝説を知ってる？
Legend of King Arthur. I've been reminded more than enough in the past few days. Not as much as the next person, although I didn't know King Arthur was a girl.
そうね。けど性別に関してはどうでもいいのよ。別にアーサー王が女の子だったとしても、伝説そのものに変更を加える必要はないでしょ。アーサー王が幸いアーサー王にはマーリンっていう魔術師がついてたしね。 インキュバスとの根血だっていう悪魔じめたやつだから、アーサー王の性別を偽装したり、生まれないはずの子供を用意するってのもお手の物だったんでしょ。
Yeah, that's, so?
だから私が問題にしているのは伝説と今のセイバーの食い違いよ。ねえエミヤくん、あなたはエクスカリバーがどういうものか知っていて？
Why yes, it's not. Excalibur is a symbol of King Arthur. It's the sword fairies gave her fame for being able to cut through anything without ever dulling.
やっぱりそんなことだろうと思ったわ。
Sokka looks oddly triumphant. Was that a weird thing to say?
言ったわよ。あなたもアーサー王と同じ間違いをしたってこと。マーリンがいたら未熟者ってどやされてるわ。
Why is that? The sword in the stone wasn't Excalibur. That sword broke. You later received another sword from a fairy in the lake, and that was Excalibur, right?
そうそう、エクスカリバーをアーサー王が受け取った時にね、マーリンはこう問いかけるの。王よ、あなたがお気に召したのはどちらの方ですかな？剣か、それとも鞘ですか？アーサー王はためらいもなく剣の方だと答えるんだけど、マーリンは叱責するの。お間違えめさるな。剣は敵を撃つものですが、鞘はあなたを守るもの。その鞘を身につけている限り、あなたは血を流すこともなく、負傷することもない。真に大事とすべきは剣ではなく鞘なのです。
Sokka skillfully acts out the parts of King Arthur and Merlin. Look at you, Sokka, you're getting into the parts. What's your point?
何って、ここまで聞いてわからない？つまりアーサー王は不死者なの。エクスカリバーっていうのは攻守ともに無敵の宝具なのよ。だから本当ならセイバーは傷を負ってもすぐに治るはずだってこと。
Sokka, Saber's wounds do heal.
それはそうだけど、セイバーの自己回復はセイバーのバカみたいに膨大な魔力を使った力技にしか見えないっていうか、ともかく伝説のエクスカリバーの鞘とは違う気がするのよ。
Yes, if you say so, it's probably true. Then here's my question. You say that King Arthur is immortal, so then why and how did King Arthur die? This legend ends with King Arthur's death, right? Sokka's mouth drops open. After freezing up for a few seconds, she grinds her teeth and looks away.
そうだった。エクスカリバーの鞘は途中で敵に盗まれたんだ。
Ah, rookie mistake right there. I'd forgotten, but according to legend, King Arthur's fate was sealed the moment the king lost the all-important sheath. So you convinced now, Sokka?
言ったわよ。笑い物にしたいならすればいいわ。
She didn't mean that. I can tell she's ready to kick me in the head the moment I laugh at her. It's all good as long as you understand that, but why did that bother you so much? It shouldn't matter to you whether Saber gets hurt or not.
うるさいわね。何よ、ちょっとそうだったら無敵だなーなんて舞い上がっただけじゃない。私だってね、たまには間違えることぐらいあるわよ。
This is a tough one. Would there be any benefit in me pointing out that she makes mistakes a lot, not just sometimes? By the time the sun sets, the rain stopped completely. Based on our conversation during breakfast, we're heading to town to look for the other master. But I should check something before. I should check Saber's intentions. What is her purpose in front of? But I should just ask her straight out. I need to be casual about it. I hit myself a bit, then pushed to my feet. The living room seems like a good starting place. I'm going to leverage the peaceful pre-dinner mood, try to get through Saber's stubborn nature. What if, hypothetically, what if we do win the Holy... what would we do if we won the Holy Grail War? So much for casual. I thought about it a lot and could come up with anything smooth, so blunt it is. All three of them offer more or less the same response, though with slightly different expressions. Like I said, after food, I want to talk about what you do once we obtain the Holy Grail.
そんなの説明されなくてもわかるけど、どういう風の吹き回しよ。あんたがそんなこと言い出すなんて。
Saber and Ilya don't nod, but they do seem to share an opinion on the subject. I guess it's kind of weird to bring up out of nowhere, but I have to play dumb for now. You know, I'm just asking, there are only 3 swords, that's just not an unrealistic thought, so, you know, the end of kind of in sight.
まあ言われてみればそうよね。いくら素人だってこの状況ならそれぐらいは考えるか。好きで始めたことじゃないって言っても、命を張ってる以上は報酬ぐらい気になるだろうし。
Yeah, I would think that. I'm glad Tasaka likes to focus on the reason for things. Tasaka will offer the possibility of anything that seems logical, which is really one of her better qualities. This is just something I brought up to discuss, though. So what about you, Tasaka? What would you do if you got the Holy Grail? I try to be as natural as possible with this.
そうね。私は勝つことしか考えてなかったから、聖杯に叶えてもらうような目的はないわ。とりあえず聖杯を手に入れるけど、その後のことは考えてなかったな。
So she's fighting because she doesn't want to lose. I figured that was the case, but don't know for sure until she said it herself.
切れた。一番ものを考えていそうで、実は一番考えてないのよね、リンは。言うじゃない。じゃあそういうあんたはどうなのよ、イリアスフィール。そんなの知らない。聖杯は私のだから誰にも渡すなって言われただけよ。もともと私のものなんだから、そんなものに興味あるわけないじゃない。要するに聖杯より聖杯戦争の方が楽しいってこと？当然よ。私は勝つためだけに来たんだもの。聖杯の使い道なんてどうでもいいわ。
There are 2 peas in a pod. The 2 stare at each other in silence. They seem to be coming to some sort of understanding. Saber doesn't say anything. She probably doesn't intend to join the conversation. No matter how much she resists, I still have to ask. I have a good idea of your goals. I try to turn as naturally as possible. So what about you, Saber? She's been quiet this whole time. Saber doesn't reply, sensing that something's amiss. Tasaka and Ilya stopped and turned towards Saber. The silence stretches out for maybe a minute.
今さら語るまでもありませんが、聖杯を手に入れるのは私の義務です。聖杯がどれほどの許容範囲を持っているかは知らない。ですがそれが聖杯である限り、私は聖杯を手に入れなくてはなりません。そして無論、聖杯が私の望みを叶えられるなら、望みを叶えるだけですが。
There it is. Saber's sister said she had a wish of her own. See, so what is your wish? I try to calm my racing heart and keep composed as I ask. Saber doesn't answer. Fine, that's fine. If she can't answer, chances are good it's because her wish is a selfish one. Knowing Saber, she may hesitate to reveal her wishes to anyone if she's wishing for something selfish, and I think I'd rather she keep quiet than make something up. I feel myself trying to back away from the question I raised.
何？それってそんなに難しいこと？サーバントの望みは現世に蘇ることだっておじいさまは言ってたわ。英霊たちは2度目の生を得るために聖杯を求めるんだって。セイバーだってそうじゃないの？
Saber jerks her head up. If that's what she wanted, there would be no problem, which means...
いいえ、2度目の生に関心はありません。私の目的は聖杯を手に入れることのみです。もともとこの身は聖杯を手に入れる代償としてサーバントになったのですから。
I figured that much. Someone who took an oath and drew the second sword wouldn't seek a second life.
ちょっと待って。聖杯を手に入れることと引き換えにサーバントになった？それって英霊になる時の契約のこと？
はい。この身をサーバントとする交換条件として私は聖杯を求めたのです。
え？じゃあ何？あなたって聖杯を手に入れるために呼び出されたサーバントじゃなくて、聖杯を手に入れるために自分からサーバントになったっていうの？
Sokka stares at Saber. She tilts her head, confused.
つまりセイバーは英霊だから呼び出されたんじゃなくて、自分からこの戦いに参加したってこと？けどサーバントである以上英霊として祀られているんだから、自分からこっちの世界に関わるなんてできっこないわよね。じゃあセイバーはサーバントのルールから大きく外れてるってわけでもないし。もうちょっと待ってね、今整理するから。
いいえ、整理するまでもありません。リンが言ったことは正しい。私は他のサーバントとは違います。私はまだ完全にサーバントになったわけではないのですから。
完全にサーバントになっていない？
What does that mean? Well, first of all, what does it mean to become a servant? Saber just said she agreed to become a servant just to pay to obtain the Holy Grail, which means... Hold on a minute. Are servants forced to fight as the price to get what they want?
いいえ、それは違います。もともとサーバントというのはこの聖杯戦争だけの特別な使い魔です。サーバントとは英霊の特性を利用した召喚魔術。元は英霊なのですから、サーバントにパンを得た代わりに労働をするという決まりはありません。
そうね、サーバントシステムってのはもともと守護精霊である英霊を利用したものだもの。元からあるものを使ってるわけだから、サーバント側にもマスター側にも代償として支払うものはない。けどサーバントになる前、人間から英霊になるには代償行為が必要だって聞いたことがある。英霊っていうのは人間の守護者でしょ。彼らは死した後も人間のために働いて、人の世の滅亡を水面下で防ぐのだとか。で、そういった守護者になるには、生前まだ英雄として現役だった頃に何かと取引をしなくてはならない。それが英霊の契約。世界に死後の自分を明け渡す儀式。交換条件によって財を得た者が英雄となり、英雄としてやりたいことをやった後、死後はサーバントとしてもらった財を返す。つまり英雄になるために借金をして、死んだ後は英霊になることで借金を返すってこと。サーバントっていうのはその返済金額を横から私たちにかすめ取られて使役されてるってわけ。
So you're saying humans become heroes by making some sort of trade, in return they get used and summoned as heroic spirit familiars after their death, which means the deal Saber made to become a heroic spirit was for the Holy Grail. Since Saber obtained the Holy Grail in her lifetime, the price she has to pay is serving as a heroic spirit to sort of guardian even after death. It doesn't sound right. Saber said that her goal was the Holy Grail, but she already obtained it since she became a hero in exchange for the Holy Grail.
いいえ、シロ。私はまだ聖杯を手にしてはいないのです。アルトリア、アーサー王の望みは生きているうちに聖杯を手に入れることだった。私は死ぬ前に聖杯を手に入れなければならなかった。そのためにもし聖杯が手に入るなら、死後は守護者になっても良いと条件を飲んだのです。リンの言う通り、人間は英雄になるために世界と契約をし、人間以上の力を授かり、その代償として死後の自分を売り渡します。ですが私は英雄になるときに世界の後ろ盾を必要としなかった。幸いなことにアーサー王は英雄になるための支援を必要としなかったのです。
She didn't need any help to become a hero, so Saber became a hero on her own.
けどあなたは英霊としてここにいる。アーサー王は英雄になった後で世界に違う交換条件を求めたってこと？
はい。私は最後の時にどうしても聖杯が必要になった。聖杯がなければ我慢できなかった。叶えなくてはいけない願いができてしまった。だから 英霊の契約をしたのです。私の手に聖杯が握られるなら、死後は英霊となってあらゆる者のために剣を取ろうと。
In her last moments, she wished for the Holy Grail's miracle. Now I understand her feelings. The blood-soaked hill, swords standing as gravestones, the bodies of so many knights. A lone king whose reign ended in betrayal. She didn't deserve the end she met. Even if she hadn't wished for her own before, she must have thought, I can't die here. This isn't the end I want. That's why there was no shame in using the power of the Holy Grail to prolong her life.
そう。つまり死後の自分を売り払ってまで聖杯を手に入れられる手段を取ったのね。けどセイバー、あなたの出した条件っていうのは生きているうちに聖杯を手に入れるでしょ。なら、
はい。私が生きているうちに聖杯探索は成し得なかった。私はアーサー王は最後まで聖杯を手に入れることができなかったのです。ですがそれでは契約が成り立ちません。世界が私をサーバントにするにはですから。
アーサー王は聖杯を手に入れるまで死なない。いいえ、死ぬことができない。それじゃああなた。
はい。アーサー王と呼ばれていた私は死を迎える一瞬で止まっているはずです。時間軸から見れば私はとうに滅びているでしょう。です。アーサー王は死の直前でサーバントとして召喚され、聖杯を手に入れた後死ななければならないのです。
時間が止まってるんじゃなくて時間に止まってる状態か。あなたがサーバントとして何度戦いを繰り返しても構わない。最終的には聖杯を手に入れて契約を果たすことは決まっているんだから。
そうです。いつかは聖杯を手に入れ、私は契約を果たす。だからこそ英霊になる前からいずれ英霊化が決定しているという条件であらゆる時代に召喚される。それはこの町の聖杯だけではありません。聖杯が手に入る可能性があるならば、私はどの戦場にも召喚される。そうしていつかは聖杯を手に入れ、私の望みを叶えた時こそ死の直前で止まっていた私の時間は進みます。アーサー王は最後の時を迎え、聖杯を手に入れた代償としてこうして英霊となるのでしょう。
死の直前で覚めない夢を見ているようなものか。今回の聖杯戦争もセイバーにとっては夢の一つ。そして夢から覚めるのは聖杯を手に入れた時だけ。
リンはシローが未熟だから私を霊体化できないと言いましたね。けれどそれは違う。私は未だ死者ではないから霊体にはなれないのです。半端な扱いですが、これでも位置づけは聖者ですから。前回の聖杯戦争でも私はそうだった。
I was just sitting here watching the two talk for like the past 3 minutes while doing other stuff. I was completely like tuned out, and then I realized, oh crap, I actually have a line. Saber's tone is apologetic. She probably feels bad for laying the blame for her not being able to enter spirit form of my ineptitude. I don't care about that, but there's something I need to ask. Saber, what do you mean you're not dead? I got that you won't die until you obtain the Holy Grail, and based on how you described it, you haven't been alive since the time of King Arthur, but then who are you right now? You're not a clone of the real person or anything, right?
はい。こちらに呼び出される英霊というのは全て本体の分身のようなものですが、私はまだその位置に達していません。聖杯を手に入れるまでは死の直前に止まったままで呼び出されている。リンの言った通り、アーサー王は時間という大河の上で停止している。私はその位置から前か後ろかに飛んで聖杯を求めた後、 止まっている場所に戻っているのでしょう。
I try to diagram it all in my head. It's pretty simple once I visualize it. King Arthur stopped in time at the moment before she dies, but that doesn't matter to the wider flow of time. It continues on all the way to the present. She jumps to whatever time she's needed, then returns to her own frozen moment in time after she completes her duty. If she manages to obtain the Holy Grail in one of the times she visits, she'll be swept back into the proper flow of time and die just as she does in the history we know. Maybe that's how heroic spirits work. When they die, they're transferred back to a sort of nexus where the flow of time stops. And then when they're summoned, they're taken to that point in time, then disappear without ever returning. That's probably what is meant by heroic spirits being doubles, kind of like a clone made from their original selves. The heroic spirit, which completely retains the abilities and memories they had while alive, appears in this world and gains more knowledge, but it's so useless. They have no means to return to their original body, instead just disappears. So now, no matter how many times or how many different eras they're summoned, there will never be any inconsistencies in the heroic spirit's memories. From the moment the person becomes a heroic spirit, they will never change. Even if they obtain new knowledge, they will just disappear when their role is over. So in that sense, Saber is not a complete servant. After each time she's summoned, she eventually returns to her own time. She goes back to the moment where she's about to die on that blood-soaked hill.
ちょっと待った。じゃあ何？今回聖杯を手に入れたら元の時代に戻ってその時代で聖杯を使うってこと？それって過去の改ざんじゃない。時間旅行にしても平行世界の運営にしてもそれは魔法の領域よ。そんなのできるわけがないわ。
それを可能とするのが聖杯でしょう。そうして聖杯さえ使えるのならば、私はサーバントとなってもいいと契約したのです。聖杯を使うことでアルトリアという人物が消え去ろうとも、今の私が英霊となることを代償として。
Saber's so matter-of-fact about it. It doesn't sound right, though. Using the Holy Grail to grant a wish is fine, but why wouldn't that mean Artoria has to disappear? The hell? Artoria's gonna disappear by using the Holy Grail? That's messed up. Saber, you're not going to... I see the image of the girl dying on the hill alone. You're not gonna use the Holy Grail to save yourself.
なぜそのようなことを言うのです、シロ。私の望みは国を滅びから救うことだけなのですが。
I can feel my expansion testing it. I thought I knew Saber's wish, but now my head is spinning and I feel like throwing up. Why? And yet, I try to push air from my lungs to get that word out.
なぜも何もないでしょう。私は国を守れなかった。その時に思ったのです。岩の剣は間違えて私を選んでしまったのではないかと。
That's ridiculous. Why would you think that?
いいえ、その迷いは常に私の中にありました。私は王にふさわしくないのではないか。本当に選ばれるべき英雄は他にいたのではないのかと。あの時、政権を抜いてしまった時、国を救えなかった私より国を救えたはずのふさわしい王がいたはずです。だからもし聖杯の力で王の選定をやり直すことができるなら、その時に戻ればきっと。
She's saying that Renation wouldn't be sure she was able to go back to that moment. I feel faint. I'm really angry at Saber for forcing such ridiculous thing. The feeling passes in an instant, though. I really look like a deer in the headlights. Isn't it obvious? Saber's wish is not for herself, and on top of that, she wishes for her own elimination. She exists because she became King Bajor and the Sacred Sword. To pretend that never happened means she simply wouldn't exist. Let's say we use the Holy Grail to grant her wish. Artoria would never become king, and she would just live in a timeline where she is an ordinary knight. But then what would happen to the Saber I know? Even if it's only temporary, sure it exists as her experience, and if her wish is granted, she will continue on, but as a being meant only for fighting. She has paid the price for obtaining the Holy Grail, so the Saber I know will continue existing, even if Artoria never becomes king. She will be cut off from the past and future. She will always and only ever be the lonely knight dying on that blood-soaked hill. That's idiotic. I won't allow it. There's no hope for salvation there. Even if she was able to do it all over again, and there really was a better king, and her nation did manage to last longer, and if she was herself saved, it'd all be lies. Even if it made everyone around her happy, I just can't let the past 10 years she fought through be a lie. No, you can't do that. You can't redo things. It wouldn't mean anything if you did, Saber.
シロ
Don't use the Holy Grail for something like that. You obtained the Holy Grail because you fight for it. You should use that miracle for yourself.
ですから私は自分のために使うと言っているではありませんか。私アルトリアは王としての責務を果たさなければ。
How does she not understand? You've already done more than your duty. You've done so much already. You didn't give up when you were feared or when you were betrayed. You held on to your sword until the end on that hill. So why do you have to keep such promises even after you die? Saber looks bewildered. Too late to regret what I said. I shouldn't have just blurted out what I've been dreaming of Saber's past. A heavy silence hangs between us. I can't think what to say. Even I can tell speaking it would just make things worse right now, but I just can't keep quiet. Saber, I don't like it when people aren't rewarded for their hard work. It's wrong. It's not fair. I get that, Shadows, but I want to believe that humans can find happiness if they really work for it. I'm not going to lose the other masters. I'm claiming the Holy Grail, no question. That's why I want you to make your own wish. That way I actually find some meaning in this stupid war. That's the conclusion I reached. I don't know what the Holy Grail is, nor do I know if it's even something you should try to obtain, but if you could save Saber, even a little, then I'll go all out.